Hello, I'm Miranda, and this is a spotlight video where I talk to my friend Chris, who ran the 40K narrative event at the 2023 Nova Open. So continuing our tour here at Nova, we have got Chris here hosting the narrative campaign. Chris, tell us a little bit about how that's going and what you've set up.
Yeah, it's going great so far. So I've set up a narrative campaign here with 4 different worlds for people to fight over, a long, multi-year story arc that's going on. Seems to be going really good so far, very close. The match comes down to about 25 points out of about 2,500 points going into the end of the 3rd day. And
who versus who?
So it's Salus Praetus versus Obitus Excidium. And that might sound weird to some folks, but we've set it up in such a way where it's really faction agnostic. So you can play with your friends. If you're Imperium and the other person is Chaos, but you want to play together, you can be on the same side because it all comes down to what's your intent in the campaign. So are you trying to save this system that we're fighting over or destroy it? And you could have good reasons or bad reasons for both. And maybe at the end we'll figure out who gets to exert their will over the system.
I see you are in character for the event.
I am in character. So this whole thing was brought about by, we don't know if he's acting on part of the Imperium or Rogue at this point, but a tech priest reclamator named Thanatrax. So this year I chose to dress up, bring a little cosplay to the event, a little more immersion for folks. We have a couple more folks helping us who are also dressed up. We have a representative of the Imperial Ecclesiarchy. We also have an Arch-Sigillite that's part of the group. And then a few of our participants actually dressed up as well.
Yes.
So we're representing some cosplay here at Nova, and hopefully that picks up over the next couple of years as well.
That's what I'm hoping for. So the narrative, it is dynamic though, so depending on who's winning at the end of the night, which kind of goes late, you're actually, it affects what happens the next morning, right?
Exactly, yeah. So my character is not supposed to look this tired. So every single day we play 3 rounds, and all those rounds I end up totaling everything up, figuring out what the will of the players was, what happened through the battles on the battlefield.
Okay.
And it's not a preset narrative. So after the end of every single day, I tally up all the points. I take a look at some of the cool stuff that happened, the specific tables that it's happening on, which I think you're going to take a look at, and try to come up with a really compelling narrative as to why that happened and how that's impacting the campaign so far. And then I bring that back to the players the next morning, and that shapes their decisions going into the next day.
And then eventually into the campaign that goes into next year.
That's true, yeah. So this is year 2 of the campaign. Year 1, every event that happened at the end of year 1 started in year 2. So where we ended last year, we immediately picked off again at year 2. And they were able to ruminate on some of those decisions over the last year and determine if what they did was good or bad, and maybe try to course correct or continue on with what they're doing. But this is a long campaign. It doesn't have a set limit yet, but it's anticipated to be probably between 6 and 8 years to get to the culmination.
So join in while you can.
Exactly.
Come to next year's Nova.
Yeah.
And be part of this.
It's never too late. You can pick up at any point.
All right. Excellent. Well, Chris, looks like you've got a lot of happy people here and a lot of fun things going on with your narrative campaign. So looking forward to seeing what you do next year.
Absolutely. Me too. Thank you.
Thanks.
And of course, Chris was dressed up as an AdMech this year, but he wasn't the only one. There were actually several attendees at the narrative and at Nova in general who were dressed up in 40K cosplay. And of course, since my heart is with the Guard, I was lucky enough to interview with Shay, who actually dressed up as a Cadian, that perfectly matched his warlord.
Continuing our time at Nova here, we have had some fantastic cosplay events here, especially in the 40K narrative. Tell me what your name is and what are you dressed up as today?
I am Shay Straight, or better known as Cadian Sergeant Steel. So I'm dressed up as my character on Instagram and YouTube, and also my warlord here in the narrative event.
You have a model that looks like too.
The model, yep.
Yes.
So every piece of the cosplay outfit is on the model for my warlord.
Excellent, excellent. And I don't know if you can tell on camera, but his eyes are purple. It's great. So does Cadia stand this narrative go?
Yes, it does. Cadia stands strong at the Nova Open narrative.
I love it. I love it. How are you enjoying your time at Nova?
It's fantastic.
Yeah.
Especially the narrative event is one of the best events I do every year.
Well, you are rocking it, man. I love it. Where did you get this costume from?
I got this from Cody's Universal Crafts. You can find him on Etsy or Instagram.
All right.
He printed all the armor, and then I just painted it up and got it ready for the convention.
Yeah? How's that been to play in?
It's a little stuffy, but looks great, and the other players really enjoy that, getting
level
in the
of
character.
immersion. Yeah.
Yep.
Dude, you look amazing. And you got yourself your little plasma pistol here?
Yep.
Has that been hazardous for you yet?
It has been a little bit. I even had a little incident earlier with a commissar.
Oh my.
And my plasma pistol.
Well, good luck to you for the rest of the narrative. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you too.
And thanks again to Chris for taking the time for the interview and for hosting a fantastic 40K narrative event. We look forward to seeing you at Nova next year. So, what did you think of the interview, and have you ever participated in a 40K narrative event, or have you been to Nova? Definitely let me know in the comments, and especially let me know how much you support seeing more 40K cosplay in the future. And with that, I will leave you with my final interview at the Nova Open.
So here at Nova, we've had a lot of cosplay entries. What do you think of? What do you think about that?